Hey everybody, it's Chris Butel with Cleveland Street Mortgage, and there is a common misperception out there about financing a property as a primary residence, owner-occupied primary residence, and that misconception is that you have to occupy it as a primary residence for a full year. And the reality is that is actually not the case. Now, if your dark little heart said, sweet, I can finance an investment property as a primary residence and get the lower rates, the lower down payment, the easier underwriting, then you should not pass go, you should not collect your $200, and you should go directly to jail. This is not about committing occupancy fraud, but really understanding what you're actually committing to. What the deed of trust actually says, and the deed of trust is what secures your loan, what secures the lender's loan to you to buy the property. And it follows along the property, and Section 6 of the Deed of Trust deals with occupancy. And here's what you're actually committing to. Borrower shall occupy, establish, and use the property as the borrower's principal residence within 60 days after execution of this security instrument, and shall continue to occupy the property as borrower's principal residence for at least 1 year after the date of occupancy. And then here's the crucial part. Unless lender otherwise agrees in writing, which consent shall not be unreasonably withheld, or unless extenuating circumstances exist which are beyond the borrower's control. And so you have two different outs there, essentially. It is absolutely important that you declare your intent honestly, but understand also that uncertainty doesn't negate intent. You can fully intend to occupy a property as a primary residence, but have some potential event out there in the future that you're aware of now. That doesn't negate intent. If it's your true intent to occupy as a primary residence for the next year, then the fact that there may be something out there that might change doesn't negate your ability to declare that intent. And then circumstances can change as well. So if your circumstances change, then you may also need to cease occupying as a primary residence. So, one of the most obvious examples is, let's say you get a job transfer or a move. Now, if you simply sell your house within that 1 year, and you don't try and finance a new house within that 1 year, then you'll probably never hear from the lender about it. I think it's highly unlikely that you'll ever hear from them, even though you paid off that loan within a year, because there's nothing really to trigger that other than the loan payoff. Now, if you sell your house and go try and finance a new primary residence within a year, you will hear from the underwriters on that, because Fannie and Freddie track that. And they will see that you financed another property as a primary within a year. And so underwriters will ask those questions, ask you to explain that. And I have a saying that basically says, if it's true, underwriting questions are few. And so, as long as your explanation is true and legit, then you really shouldn't worry about it at all. Just tell your story. Why did that happen? Why did you change? Now, if you instead convert it to a rental property, you may hear from them, because in that circumstance, you'll probably have to change your insurance. You'll probably have to insure it as a rental property. And the lenders typically are notification parties of all changes in insurance documents. And so you'll just have to explain the circumstances. And the reality there is, as well, in most cases, as long as you're making your monthly payments, most lenders aren't necessarily going to worry about that. I had one case where a borrower's circumstances changed, and he was very proactive. He reached out to the lender and said, look, my circumstances have changed. It's preventing me from occupying this property as a primary. I'm going to delay my occupancy. I'd like your permission. And they really didn't know what to do with him. I mean, that's the reality of what happened. They didn't know what to do with him. He asked that question a couple of different ways, and finally got answers to the point where he was satisfied that he had notified them of his change in circumstances. He had requested their permission. They had essentially just said, whatever, keep making your payments. And I think all is good in that situation. So anyway, thanks so much. Take care.